All right, cheers.
Cheers.
They don't know about the kumbaya meetings we had this year.
Behind. Good look. Three.
You just put yourself on the map. They didn't look into your heart. They didn't look into your heart. They didn't look into my heart.
All I want to do is compete.
Without Jerry McNamara, we wouldn't have won 10 fucking games this year.
Because they came to whose house? But doggone it, ain't it good to be winners again in the ACC?
All right, Dave, what are we drinking?
Alrighty, so today we are drinking Minky Boodle, which is just a super fun name. It's a raspberry sour ale. I know every week we're drinking a sour of some nature.
It's what we like.
It's what we like. Who knows, as it starts to get chilly out, maybe we'll switch our palates a little bit.
Yeah, when it gets cold, I drink some stouts. I
Yeah.
do like some other things.
Yeah, but this is delicious. I really like it. I'm drinking it out of my branching out class, which I love. We can only go when it's in the budget because we have no turn off once we're there.
Yeah, we can only go over so often.
Yeah, but Joel and Krissa are amazing, and head over to Branching Out if you guys like craft beer the way we do and enjoy a wide variety.
So Minky Boodle today.
Yeah, Minky Boodle.
That's what we got.
There it is.
All right, guys. Welcome back to Cuse Yourself podcast. I'm Chris,
I'm Stacy.
and we're back. It's Tuesday. We took some time. Mm-hmm. We had to decompress after the weekend. Didn't end the way we had hoped or wanted it to, but we're gonna get into that. First things first. We are 4 days.
4 days.
4 days away from Clemson, which also means we're 4 days away from the water gun war. And things are coming together nicely. I'm just hoping that all of the Clemson fans that I've been speaking to all follow through and that they show up, and we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, and one I guess kind of a thing to add is the parking lots, Skytop and all of the other they open at 3, which is obviously also the start of the Super Soaker, the Water Gun Royale. But what that also means is if you can't get in before 3, park over with us. Let's have some fun. And then, 3:30, 3:45, whenever festivities wind down a little bit.
So this just came to me live on camera.
Then you can go over to your parking spot.
I'll start putting word out and getting a feeler. Maybe we could move up to 2:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 2 or 2:30.
That way you...
Not drastically, but if people come do the water gun war.
And then go into their spot.
Shoot yourself up to wherever you're going to park.
Yeah.
That could work. I'll spend the next day or two working on that.
Okay.
Because really, people are going to be up there all day anyways.
Yeah.
It's just as easy to do it at 2, have it over with, and send people to wherever they're going to tailgate.
Right.
We'll look into that.
Okay.
Got you. We will look into that. That's a possibility. Somebody had asked about that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
Because we don't want people to have to park at their spot and then walk over or whatever.
Right.
Because campus can get kind of
big and hilly.
Yeah. So I mean, if we can arrange it where people just come first over to the Water Royale and then go over to their spots.
Water gun war is going to be awesome. We have over 60 water guns now on hand and about 300 water bottles.
Yeah.
So if we run out of water guns, squirt them with a water bottle. Whatever. We're going to make it happen. It's going to be a great time. But that's next week or later this week. This past weekend we had Maryland. We took the trip down. Had an amazing time. Early morning tailgating.
Yes.
The tailgating was awesome.
It was yeah. Yeah.
We had a blast. We had a blast. Some people that we had met, some friends at Liberty.
Right. We rolled up on a tailgate at Liberty. We just kind of drove around. They had a grassy area where most people were parking, so we just kind of drove around until we saw orange, and we did, and we stumbled across some of the coolest people I've ever met.
Pretty awesome crew.
Yeah, we met, Jen and Clay and their daughter Hannah, and we met Elena and her husband and their 2 little pumpkin pies. And I don't know, we had a great time, and we communicated with them after the Liberty game, and Jen and Clay and Hannah and Jen's other daughter Amanda and her husband were going to come to the Maryland game because they live in Maryland. So we communicated and were able to hook up with them. So we tailgated with them before the Maryland game, and then
Let me tell you, if you've never been to a real tailgate, because we tailgate,
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
do a
yeah.
good job. We have a good time.
man, they put it on.
I'm Jen and Clay, man.
They put it on.
We showed up to like breakfast sandwich baskets and home fries, and then there was chocolate chip pancakes. Everything you could imagine was there. There was a heck of a tailgate. We had a great time. So thank you guys again. It was awesome. Can't wait to see you this
And I
weekend when
highly
you come up.
suggest picklebacks and pancakes.
Well, yeah, picklebacks and pancakes are always good. Always good. But yeah, Tammy and Dale came up, and it was a great time. We had a great tailgate.
We did, and the people were amazing. We talked with a couple of Maryland fans, and
Maryland fans were fun.
Yeah, away games are always super fun, and we have yet to run across a city or a college town where there was any animosity or anything like that. Everyone's been always, very welcoming.
Yeah.
When we left the game, there was some comments made, but nothing like we
Nothing
wouldn't.
rude.
Nothing rude or nothing personally attacking, and nothing like we wouldn't do leaving the dome. So I mean, yeah, you can throw shade a little bit.
They deserve to throw shade a little bit after that game. So let's talk about the game. It was not what we expected when we went in. And I went on record before going in thinking I thought we were going to beat that team fairly handedly.
Yeah. Yeah, I put in the blog on the trip down. I wrote up the blog and posted it. And, when we saw that they were running a 3-4 defense, and we're like, oh my gosh, that's going to fare so well for us. And I think players and fans alike kind of went in with maybe our heads held a little too high. And I mean that's okay. It's okay.
Sometimes being humbled
yeah
is a good thing, especially for the kids, the young ones who, are facing some adversity now.
Yeah, and if you're going to be humbled, you'd rather do it in the beginning of the season.
Yes.
You don't want it to be the last game where where the big wigs are doing all the bowl selections and things like that. You don't want to be humbled at a game like that.
No, you want to ride high going into selections.
So if you're going to be humbled, why not do it week 2 and get it out of the way?
So without further ado, let's give them some hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses.
Roll it.
And yes, they still deserve hugs and kisses.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, guys, before I get into my X's and O's analysis, these are still kids.
They're
Whether you want to call them kids because they're all over 18 or not is semantics. If they were yours,
they would be your kids.
they would be your kids.
Yeah, and we feel about this program like parents feel about their children,
Mm-hmm.
and we embrace the the university and the athletics like we do our kids.
Yes.
And my son is 18 and a freshman at college, and there are
Still a kid.
You're right. There are young men who are on this team who just came to college, and they're kids.
Right. So
They're kids
I
who
implore the fans to keep that in mind
Yeah.
going forward.
They're kids that are still taking 19 credit hours. They're kids that are still working out pre and post those classes.
Yep.
They're kids that still watch, film and like my son goes to 4 classes a day and then farts around the rest of the day. He just joined a Nerf gun war.
Right.
Like these guys don't get to do that. They don't get to live the college life.
They don't get to enjoy the college life as
We work
as
8
some
hours.
others.
Yeah, we work 8 hours a day, and then we come home and watch Friends or cook it. Again, they don't get to do.
I do like
that.
Friends.
I love Friends, but so I mean, yes, criticism is fine, and darn this team, and we needed to win. We should have won. All that is totally cool, totally fine. The personal attacks is where I feel it crosses the line. I'm not telling anybody how to live their life or how to be a fan, by no means. There's many people on the spectrum of fanhood, and you do what you need to do. But just remember that they also see that. The fans, the athletes, the families, the loved ones, they also see what you're putting up there. And just remember that if someone was saying something about your child and you had to read that, how you would feel. And I'm not participation trophying anybody. I'm strongly against that. I'm not saying don't critique them and give them a gold star, but also, I don't know.
I get it.
Just remember before you hit send.
So that's our preach from the pulpit
done.
moment. That is us preaching from the pulpit momentarily about just remember at the end of the day that these are still kids playing a game that they love for the enjoyment of us.
Right. And I will put my soapbox away.
This is a nice soapbox, though.
Thanks.
So what did I see? We were at the game, and it's difficult live.
Yeah.
We were up in the 300s. At one point, actually, Dale and I went up to the top of the tippy top, which actually the view was really nice
I'm
up
sure,
there.
yeah.
The view was nice. What
Almost
I saw,
everything you saw or we talked about after the game and on the ride home was opposite of what we just saw watching it on television.
Yeah, ESPN Plus just did a live replay.
Yeah, but
Because
no, they didn't,
I couldn't
actually.
rewind it or fast forward it.
Yeah.
I had to watch it as though it was on TV. So they just did a replay, and we watched into the third quarter.
Yeah.
At that point, I had seen everything I needed to see to give my analysis. And I'll tell you guys, it's not nearly as bad
It really
as you would have thought.
Right.
First thing that jumps off the page at me is that Brian Ward got out-coached.
Right.
Top to bottom, defensively. Everything he tried to do, Maryland had an answer and was a step or two ahead of him. That's the first thing that jumped off the page at me. They were running plays for the defensive setup we were going to run next play. Where Brian Ward was a play behind.
Right.
And they kept us on our toes, and he won the chess match. Their offensive coordinator won the chess match against Brian Ward.
Yeah, specifically in one of the drives, like, we came in as a blitz, and Maryland had already known that was coming, and we're 6 deep on the blitz, so they throw a deep pass, and...
Right in the middle of the field was wide open. They hit a deep slant, and it went for a big chunk of yards. Few things that got deceiving. They rushed for, I don't even know the stat, 350 yards, roughly, because I know at one point in the game it was like 354. I don't know where they ended. And as horrendous as that looks, and the initial instinct from everybody across the board, football fans everywhere, is if you see huge rushing yards, the linebackers must 100% be at fault.
Yeah.
Linebackers are responsible to hold the run. Big rushing yards means linebackers at fault. This is deceiving. One, because 200 of their 300 and something rushing yards came on about 5 plays.
Right.
There was a few missed tackles in those plays and a few people who I believe Brian Ward had out of position and forced us into bad situations. One play specifically where he had a slant run blitz on to the strong side. The play countered back, and it forced a corner to then try to be the strong side linebacker. That's just not a position they're A, comfortable with,
Right.
B, big enough to handle, or C, have the tackling ability in the gap to make that tackle. And that play ended up going for, it was almost 70 yards on a running play. Running back countered, came back to the strong side, planted his outside foot, took off upfield, and we had a defensive back trying to fill that gap. That's just bad schematics. That's not on the linebackers who were in their run blitz. They were, the entire line and linebackers were slanting weak side.
Yeah, you're not going to put a guard in as quarterback.
Right. And we had players out of position. We're asking a lot from some guys. Specifically, we're asking a lot of Trill Williams,
Yeah.
who is a corner by nature, a nickel corner at that sometimes. And in the 4-2-5, we're asking him to step up and basically play strong side linebacker.
Right.
And we're only doing that because of the youth of Mikel Jones and the other fresh Lee Capoga and Juan Wallace, who are, I think Juan Wallace is a junior now. But it's just youth, and because of that youth and inexperience, we're asking guys to do things that's outside of what they do.
Right.
Okay. So a lot of the mistakes that we saw were on Brian Ward. That's not to remove everything from the team.
Right.
There were a lot of missed tackles.
there was, and often it was a miss on follow through. There was a lot of times where they were in the position that they were supposed to be, and they were protecting the gap that they were supposed to protect, but they would, shove instead of tackle or
arm tackles, no shoulders.
There wasn't enough of wrap up and take down. Like once you get to your guy, wrap up and take down. Don't
there
shove.
wasn't a lot of very clean runs, other than the one specifically I was just talking about. That one was very clean. Other than that, we had hands on a lot of running backs before their breakouts. Good news, that is a coachable correction,
right?
And can be done in a week. That is a correction that is not a season-long or next season fix.
And a little of that kind of goes back to, and I'm not necessarily saying arrogance, because I don't want this to be taken as a negative, but I think a lot of that comes from the hype preseason and B, the defense that we put up against Liberty.
Yeah.
So maybe, a shove or a one step behind worked then. So again, we go in with, a little bit of our shoulders back, and it just, it got away from us, and it got away from us quick.
Right. And it spiraled. It spiraled. We had some bad tackling.
Yeah, we stopped watching in the third quarter, and I know stuff happened in the end of the third quarter, and I know stuff happened in the fourth quarter, but there's no part in anyone's life where either a big lead or a big deficit doesn't mind game you in some fashion.
Yeah, you play differently. We in the
stuff,
second half, we pressed offensively to try to make a couple of scores, threw the ball in places we normally would have run, and it changed the entire game plan.
Right.
From the first half to the second half. The other thing that stuck out to me was there was a lot of miscommunication in the defensive secondary between the corners and the safeties in our zone packages. Pardon me. Our man-to-man...
Wet your whistle.
That's better. Our man-to-man packages were extremely effective. Our zone packages, we were letting guys get through the zone and onto the next level, and either releasing them too early or the safety was too late rotating over, and there was a gap in the field that was about 7 or 8 yards bigger than it should have been. There's always a soft spot in the zone in between. If you can find it, it's a completion every time. That soft spot was larger than normal. Again, correctable. It's just a schematics thing. When we ran man-to-man on the wideouts, we were very excellent. We stopped a lot of passes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as bad as it looked because of the spiral effect. So...
And I mean, let's not forget, and I know we have two of the best in our DNs with Kendall and Elton, but last year teams put up points on us. We a lot of the time and in our favor put up more points, but this isn't the first game that a team has scored.
No.
And I dare to even say 40, because the points that they scored after that, well, maybe 42, I guess, because that's what we went into half. So, but the points that they scored after that, I think, kind of go back to the mind game thing that we played differently in the second half than we played in the first half. So, yes, they scored on us, and yes, there were things we could have done differently, but we were a little in our heads at that time.
We were.
But those 42 points, nobody should ever score 42 points on us in the first half. But that being said, teams have scored 42 points on us before, and it's been okay.
A lot of times what happens is, and it's because of the system that's run here, that defense in the first half was exhausted. And there were times when they got themselves off the field, and then 3 plays later, 4 plays later, 5 plays later, 2 plays later, they were right back out there. They barely got their helmet off and a water bottle in hand.
Right.
And it was time to chin strap back on. You got to go back in the game.
They played 4 quarters worth of football in 2 quarters.
For sure. And no excuses.
Right.
They have to make the plays. But bright spots of a loss like this is more often than not, we were in position to make the right play. We didn't make the tackle. Correctable problem in the running game. In the passing game, man to man, we were totally fine. We weren't getting burnt. In zone, we were not rotating fast enough, or we were rotating too soon from the short zones. Again, correctable errors. These aren't problems. These aren't season-long problems, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So that's my analysis of the defense. I don't take too much into account the fact that we gave up 62 because, like you said, it spiraled out of control. Yeah. Like the Notre Dame game last year.
Right.
It just, once it started on that downward snowball, there was no way to bring it back. That's my defensive view. Offensively.
I don't think the sky is falling as much as
people want to believe.
At 4:30 on Saturday,
we were the worst.
We were the worst, and we might as well, not even suit up. But
we're not going to beat anybody.
Right. After we everybody caught their breath, and especially rewatching it. And I'm not telling everybody to rewatch the game. But
you should.
Yeah.
There's a lot to see there.
If you're gonna take time to evaluate the analytics of the game and the schematics of the game, watch it twice.
Yep.
And because again, just like the players kind of got in their head, so did we as fans.
Yeah.
There were plenty of times in the first half, every time they got the ball, we felt like this is still doable.
It's still doable.
And then there were plenty of times in the second half
we could score quick,
where if we are in the stands with our hot dogs and our pretzels and we already feel like it's out of hand, they do too.
Yep.
They do too. Our feelings aren't alone.
A few small points in the game that were turnaround potential points. One is at 21-7, we got a stop, got the ball back, and we had an interception. That's a big swing because a score there instead of the interception makes it 21-14.
Right.
Different ball game. Again, in the second half, it was 49-20 when Cisco got the pick. And we ended up going 4-and-out turnover on downs. Had we scored there, 49-27, it's now a 3-score game. Things are different.
And you can't go for a field goal like that.
No, you don't kick a field goal.
You can't go for a field goal. You have to go 4 downs. And
we're down 4 scores.
Well, and on the third down on that particular play,
Taj got tripped.
Taj got tripped, and incidental, but he got tripped. So Taj was open, and things were good, and that pass would have been complete for probably 12 or 14 yards. But it wasn't, and so Tommy had to kind of scramble on his feet, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And
that Taj pass might have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because he had beat his defender, and catch it on that slant, you have the seam. That could have been a score.
Right, as he beat him is when he got tripped. But Tommy did exactly what he was supposed to do, and he ran for as much as he could, and then he
scrambled and got out of bounds.
He got out of bounds, and then, so now we're, 3rd and 7, I think, or 4th and 7, and they're just, they
pinned their ears back and came after us, and there was nobody open. So the sky's not quite falling, Chicken Little. Take a deep breath. Another thing people have been kind of harping on, saying we need help with or something needs to change, is the offensive line. I, again, in watching it, didn't see as big a problem with the offensive line as people thought. The running game got abandoned. But the running plays that we did have went okay.
Yeah.
There was no big, huge chunks, no 20, 30 yarders.
But that's not on
3,
the
4,
line.
5, 8 yards. Like they were okay. And pass blocking, we were screaming from the hilltops, we got to get Tommy more time. Tommy needs more time. We got to make sure he's got time to throw the ball. Some of that also falls on Tommy. And that's just experience.
Right.
That's game experience.
But
there were times I counted
3
3 seconds, and he didn't see an open man. He tried to sidestep. He's super athletic. So that will come with time and experience and timing.
Yeah, and his game was over and above, what it was at Liberty.
And, he played well.
And I mean, I'm not even saying in Liberty that he had a bad game. There was a couple, jitters
he
or
didn't
whatever.
play great in Liberty, but
that's normal and that's fine. And for Christmas sakes, there's often days where I don't perform at 100% as a wife, mother, or human being. So
I will never say such a thing. I would never say such a thing.
Yeah, but I mean, his game completely turned around. I mean, he was 29 for 38, which isn't horrible. He's 338 yards passing.
Right.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, 1 pick. The pick came on a scramble. He tried to feed the ball into it. He's got some Brett Favre in him.
Yeah.
Where he just thinks he can feed it into anywhere. I love that. I love that mentality in my quarterback. I want you to be cocky a little bit and think you can throw it into any window.
Because
sometimes it doesn't work.
Right. And the 13 times that it does work, superstar. And so you can't always fall back on the 1 or 2 times that it doesn't work.
Right.
And make that the deciding factor to never do it again.
Yeah, that window he threw into on Tristan's second touchdown, the one where he caught it, got hit, and then ran.
Yeah.
That window was tiny. He threw a laser beam.
Yeah.
And Tristan saw the contact coming, reached out, caught the pass, brought it in, absorbed contact, went upfield. That was a laser into a small window. So if you got a guy, if you want your guy to throw those passes, you got to accept the good with the bad.
Right.
And sometimes the passes aren't going to work. But he played really well. I thought he played with a lot more composure. His happy feet in the pocket were less. And they'll be even less every week going forward.
And again, we saw more happy feet in the third and fourth quarter.
When he was trying to press it.
Right. When, again, we were trying to do a little too much to get back in the game. And that would come from any quarterback, any team, any
So they
caliber
were,
on the-
our offense ran totally fine. I have zero worries about our offense. There were points to be had that we left on the table. And I'd rather leave him on the table in a blowout loss than leave him on the table in a 6-point game against Clemson next week. So I'm not as worried as some others. And if you get a chance to go back and rewatch it on replay, do that. And just see that a lot of their big plays came on busted assignments in the defensive backfield or just a missed tackle or bad assignment from Brian Ward up front. I think our linebackers are totally fine. Even freshman Mikel Jones, he had a lot of playing time. He filled holes well. He moves north to south into the hole extremely well. He didn't tackle as well as he had in Liberty. He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Also, like, if you do get a chance to rewatch it, when our defense is on the field, instead of watching the running back cut through and get 20 yards, or instead of watching them throw a pass for 30 yards or whatever, watch everything else that's going around. We know the score. It's like Titanic. You know the ship's going down. You know how the end is going to be. You know the score of the game. Don't watch the ball.
Yeah.
So much other stuff happened in the defense that forced whatever defensive play ended that play or drive or whatever. So much happened around it to make those split-second adjustments that sometimes we blame the end. So either the touchdown or the tackle, we look at that moment and we blame the personnel around that moment when there was something that happened around that forced the personnel.
There's a lot to a football play. 11 on 11, there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
And offensively, you try to throw the defense off. Defensively, you want to throw the offense off. So at the snap of the ball, there's a lot going on. And if everybody does just their job, then both sides should do well. It's impossible. It doesn't always happen that way. Somebody's not going to do their job. And if we can clean up our tackling, if we can clean up our zone rotations, and really, that's about it defensively.
Yeah.
Not as bad as we think.
No.
And offensively, if the offensive line can do just a touch better, I thought they did. If I had to give them a grade, offensive line, I would give them a B.
Okay.
If I could get them to a B+, we'll be great. If I can get them to an A, we're going to decimate people offensively. Defensively, clearly I give them a D, if not an F, in totality. But that's only because of the body of work. If you individualize it,
There were plenty of A's.
there were plenty
yeah.
of guys who played good games.
And I would even go as far to say there were plenty of A's and plenty of, C's. I don't think individually anybody even scored to your D or F in totality. It just, you have to take into consideration everything that happened, and then as a squad you give them a lower grade, but individually, everybody could have done a little bit better. But
problem is, if everybody on the defense gets a C and everybody on Maryland offense gets an A, that gives our defense an F. That's how it works.
Right.
So at the end of the day, guys, the sky's not falling. We're ready for Clemson.
No, it isn't. Yeah.
We're ready for Clemson.
And I know that I'm super patty positive, but
and I'm not, though.
Yeah, no,
I'm not.
He's not. And
I
he
will call it
yeah.
like I see it, and I will tell you if I think that it's unfixable or if there's something we really, really have to worry about. I will speak it. I'll speak it into existence, because I don't, as much as they're kids, they're grown kids,
right,
and they should be accountable for their
right.
actions.
Right.
And, there are guys who missed tackles. Mikel Jones missed a couple of tackles.
Cisco was in the wrong position.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
Trill was trying to do too much in a position he's not comfortable with and missed a couple of tackles. Army missed a tackle, one big one. Like, everybody did a little something wrong, but when everybody does a little something wrong, it means a big something.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, like, coaches don't go to the Bahamas in September.
No.
The coaches don't work with these guys for 3 months and then, go back to whatever. Like, there's a reason that coaches stay on the staff all year, and it's there's a reason they watch film, and there's a reason that they do everything that they do, because there's always room to grow. There's always room to fix.
So if we grow,
yeah,
then we're in good shape. We got Clemson coming up in 4 days. This is and always has been the game of the year. Mm-hmm. We put too much weight on Maryland. A win or loss against Maryland, while it would have been great to win, is not a season ender.
Right.
Actually, none of these are season enders. Even if we lose to Clemson and we're 1-2, if we win the games we're supposed to win on the rest of the way out, we're in great shape.
Yeah.
So, but this is the game of the year, and the game we've been wanting, and the game we've been waiting for. So, what are we looking for? We're looking for Etienne, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, and Sunshine.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. Those are the guys you have to stop Clemson. They were not impressive against Georgia Tech.
No.
Even in a blowout win. They were not impressive last week against Texas A&M.
No.
They're beatable, and sometimes, babe, a guy just has another guy's number.
Right. And Dino has Dabo's number.
Dino has Dabo's number. Sometimes you scheme a guy better than he schemes you.
Yeah.
Dino has his number. I'm looking forward to a great game. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to the Wedgeheads. Loud and proud.
And we are going to be packed. And that they have, as a university, so outside of the football team, Wildhack and all his people have packed this game full of everything. Possible to keep us on our feet and to keep us cheering. They're they're doing a dedication for Tim Green. It's alumni weekend. It's the home opener. It's
homecoming.
Homecoming,
right?
Yeah. It's a sold out crowd, and
it's a water gun war.
There's zero reason that the fans at any point in this game, I don't care if we're down by 97.
Get the loud.
Darn it,
get
all
the
the
loud
heck.
house going.
Stand up, cheer, show these
Look at
guys.
you not swearing this week.
I know, I'm trying very hard not to. Show these guys that we are there to support them and to love them, and to, we're not just going to church on Easter Sunday. Like, we're committed. We're in this. We're right here with you. Stand up. TK99 is an amazing radio station, but their broadcast of this game will not be better than what you hear inside that dome.
No, I promise you it won't.
You can listen to the pregame. You can listen to the postgame. If you have tickets, get your fanny to the dome.
If you follow us on Twitter, or if you follow Tony, Syracuse Waterboy, or any of us that have been posting about it, we want to do a Whose House Our House chant almost constantly. So whatever section you happen to be in, if you're watching this right now, on Saturday, stand up and start the chant. It'll catch on. I'll stand up and start it in 327. I know Tony will over in 212.
Yeah. I mean, during the plays, I'm on the field. I'm standing in 327, but my eyes are on the field. In between the plays, I'll chant anything you need me to chant, but they need me.
I possess the innate ability to speak words and watch the field all at one time.
Yeah, I don't. And give us your Cuse your selfie.
Oh, yes. So if you didn't notice on Twitter this past weekend, we started a game day fun little giveaway.
Yeah.
It's called Cuse Your Selfie. Take a selfie
Thank you, Donna.
of wherever you happen to be, at home watching the game, in the dome watching the game, tailgating, wherever. Post it on Twitter, hashtag Wedgeheads, hashtag Cuse Your Selfie. It's a good
let's
time.
just have fun.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
So, guys, this one ran a little bit long. We were at 35. That's not
Sorry.
too bad. Well, whatever. We ramble. So 4 days to Clemson.
Yeah.
4 days of the water gun war. Thorndon Park by the Rose Garden. You can't miss us. We'll be there. This table and tablecloth will be set up.
If we can arrange with enough people that have already RSVP'd that they're coming to get it a little bit earlier, we're of course bombard you with social media updates.
Yeah, I'm going to
about
go
that.
into the group and the event. I'm going to change the event time to 2 with the hopes of starting by 2:15.
Okay.
And I'm going to go into the group and move it to 2. Just so that way when the parking lot's open at 3, people can already be heading their way.
Yeah. Make everybody
Done.
happy.
We can be accommodating. So, from us here at Cuse Yourself, as always, bleed orange. Wait, let's try that again. From us over here at Cuse Yourself Podcast, as always, bleed orange and go Cuse Yourself.
Wedgeheads.
Wait, we should do it. Drink with your left. Oh. And do this. There you go.
No, I can't do it while I'm drinking.
Why not? You can't do 2 things at once.
Oh my gosh.
Can you walk and chew gum?
We'll
Thanks,
work
guys.
on it. We'll work on it.
We'll get there.